to start with our first panelist over on my far right, Kaylin Clark Middleton. Could you wave at the folks for us? She is the CEO and founder of Designs by Kaylin, DBK, bath bombs and soaps. Having itchy, irritated skin not only looks and feels bad, it can also affect self-esteem and confidence. Kaylin, the young owner and creator of DBK bath bombs and soaps, is on a mission to raise the esteem of others and help soothe sensitive skin with natural self-care products. Her business was established when she realized that she could not use most of the bath products currently available in stores on her sensitive skin without having a negative reaction. She also loved to make things for people that could lift their spirits and make them feel good about themselves despite their circumstances. What began as a jewelry brand has quickly grown into a collection of products designed to create an experience that not only brings joy to her customers, but also helps to relieve stress and promote healing. I love this. Kaylin is a 13-year-old entrepreneur, best-selling author, international speaker, philanthropist, honor student, and three-time
I won't stop, won't mess my groove up, cause I already know how this thing. You're running to your friends that you lean in me. They say that they don't see what you see in me. You wait a couple months, think you gon' see. You'll never find nobody better than me.
It might be perhaps a bomber that happens in Zooms. Because this is a youth panel, you guys have to loosen up and go with the flow just a little bit. There are going to be some bumps along the road because we're young and vibrant today. So she is a three-time Biz Kids Shark Tank winner. She has served as a key member of her school's Destination Imagination STEM team since second grade and is a current member of Black Girls Code. She has been featured on WJLA News 7, Young Mogul News, Decide to Move podcast, and in Baltimore Sun, Laurel Leader, Entrepreneur Platform Magazine, and Baltimore Child's Magazine for being a mentor to other young entrepreneurs. And I'm reading all of this because all of it is important because these young people have done all of this. So be patient with us. At the age of 4, Kaylin was featured on CNN with Wolf Blitzer for showing compassion and sharing her designs with others. Kaylin loves giving back to the community by volunteering as a member of the Friends of the South Bowie Branch Library, where she helps with book drives and other library events to raise money for library programs. Kaylin created another way to give back with her Purses for Purpose, I love that, project. Through the project, Kaylin takes donations of gently used purses, cleans them up, and fills them with uplifting messages and personal care items to be donated to battered women and homeless shelters in her area. She's a member of the Baltimore Children's Chamber of Commerce, and in her spare time, she loves to read graphic novels and play on the computer with her friends. And she believes that everyone needs to take time out to relax and de-stress, especially now. Help me welcome, let's just all give her a hand, Kaylin. Yay! In the chat, you can give us some virtual hands as well. Thank you all. Our second panelist in the middle is Sydney Collins. Wave at us, Sydney. She is 16 years old and was fascinated by reading books at an early age. Sydney became aware that many peers were not widely encouraged to read at the age of 12. She founded Live Your Future Educated Life, a nonprofit organization that encourages the youth to read while building confidence and social skills. She is in the class of 2023 at St. Mary's Riken High School with presidential scholarships in leadership and fine arts. She is the recipient of the John D. Yamnicki Senior Memorial Scholarship, I did my best, and the Fitzgerald Program Award at her school. Sydney is an ambassador for her high school as well as Charles County NAACP Youth Council member, committee chair of education, and Save a Girl, Save a World member. Sydney was selected to attend the 2021 Black Girls Rock, Black Girls Lead, and Steve and Marjorie Harvey Girls Who Rule the World conferences. She held the student council secretary position during her freshman year, and in 2018 and 2019, she received the Principal Award for Making a Difference, NAEP Certificate of Community Service, and President's Award for Education Excellence. I don't know if you all have done all of this by 16, but we're just going to keep celebrating these young people. For 8 years, she has been training in classical ballet with the Washington School of Ballet. Sydney recently earned the 2021 NAACP Trailblazer of the Year Award for Charles County and has been recognized on WJLA News 7 as a 2021 Future Leader. Her philanthropy earned the 2021 Celebrating Our Girl Award from Federal City Public Service Foundation. And she has been featured on Fox 5, Good Day, WJLA News 7, NBC News 4, PGC TV, Fox 45 Baltimore, and WHUR 96.3 Steve Harvey Morning Show with Bobby Gales. The power is now, and I'll just have to say, the list goes on and on. The Southern Maryland newspaper, LV Magazine, St. Mary's Riken Connections Magazine, and Afternoon Tea with Maria Jordan. And in April 2020, Sydney was challenged by her mother to create a platform that brought the community and the youth together. That is when it all began. Sydney took time to brainstorm, and Perfect Timing Podcast was established, a nonprofit business that is on a mission to create a platform for young innovators, entrepreneurs, scholars, authors, activists, and public speakers. Perfect Timing's guests include actors and actresses, friends, entrepreneurs, and adult experts. And to date, 61 episodes. Some of us just listen to podcasts. She has hosted and founded a podcast where 61 have been released on the international platforms, iHeartRadio, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Elite Conversations. And again, help me, she aspires to stretch her platform in a multitude of areas that build love, hope, and opportunity. Help me welcome Sydney. Woo! There's more. I can just keep going and going, but our young people are worthy of us hearing what they have accomplished and worked so hard to do. And then our last panelist is Caprice James. Give her a hand. She is a humanitarian, a founder and CEO, women and girls advocate, best-selling author, and an international leader. Mrs. James has served her community volunteering and working in the nonprofit sector for over 30 years. She started 2 non-governmental organizations in Liberia, West Africa, and has assisted many other nonprofits with building their programs nationally and internationally. Mrs. James has a master's in public administration with a specialty in nonprofit management and leadership, and she's a proud HBCU magna cum laude graduate of Savannah State University and with a BS in political science. She has also completed her doctoral work for public policy and administration. As a Marine spouse, Mrs. James has been serving the military community for 14 years in the roles of environmental compliance officer, family readiness officer, resiliency trainer, and a mentor to both service members and their spouses. During the last 14 years as a military spouse, Mrs. James has served on the Marine Spouses Officers Board, held several positions, and listen, this is perfect because we partner with the Naval Warfare Surface Area Center, so yes. She has done so much, held several positions for the National Naval Officers Association, and served as an ambassador for Okinawa, and is a highly sought out speaker for several military panels. Mrs. James is a co-founder of the Military Hearts Matter a nonprofit that focuses on supporting the Hearts That Serve with an emphasis on heart disease affecting military families. She is the founder of Stella's Girls Incorporated, a 501c3 nonprofit, recognized Liberian non-governmental organization that focuses on the empowerment and leadership development of girls and women in the United States and across the globe, especially in countries in Africa and then in Japan. Stella's Girls have been a critical resource for teens in Southern Maryland and Western Maryland as they provide free tutoring, coding, and STEM activities for students during the pandemic. Mrs. James also provides resources and hosts events at the Dorchester Community Center located in La Plata for the Phoenix Run community. She has done so many other things, currently serving as a commissioner to the Charles County Commission for Women. She has served as a campaign manager for candidates running for office. She has a plethora of awards that she has won. She was named the top 100 Femi list for women in the Global South for her international work. I could go on and on. She is a youth advisor for the Charles County NAACP Youth Council, but you get the picture. She's amazing. Help me welcome Caprice James. All right. I took maybe 10 good solid minutes introducing our panel because I want you to know why they are here. They are here because of their accomplishments and to contribute to this conversation of rethinking experiential learning. And so we're going to start by asking the panel just a bit about what they do and what they think about this idea of experiential learning, since they are experiencing the type of learning that we want to happen with the rest of our youth and young adults. And so I'll start with you, Kaylin. If you could share in your own words about your product or your service, what you do, and maybe how you started it, why you started it. Yeah, you just tap it maybe. Is it red or green? You good? Go for it.
So my business is DBK Bath Bombs and Soaps, and I make bath bombs and soaps for people with sensitive skin or anyone that wants to relax in their own home. Especially with all the virus stuff going around, everyone is stressed and doesn't have time to just sit down and relax. So this is especially why my products are available. And how I got started was when I was 6, I started making jewelry, and I really didn't know what a business was. I just liked making jewelry for myself and for my mom. And then one day when I was making some jewelry for my grandma, she said that she would actually pay me for some of it. So I was really excited about that. And that's when I started learning like what a business was. And I did not know that I could get paid for just making some jewelry, and I was really excited about that. So after I learned like the basics of making a business, I was doing my jewelry, I was having fun, and then when I was 10, I started to make my bath bombs and soaps. And once I perfected the recipe and got good at it, I decided to turn that into my business because at the time I'd gotten more passionate about bath products than my jewelry. I still make jewelry, but just not all the time for a business now. And yeah.
I love that you pivoted in your business and made a decision to focus on the product that was really selling. That makes sense and is a wise move as an entrepreneur. Thank you for sharing that. Sydney, we'll just find out a little bit more about your work in your own words and why you started it.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Sydney, and it kind of takes you for a loop when you read back everything that you've accomplished.
Isn't that amazing?
Thank you for that amazing introduction. I started Perfect Timing Podcast a little over a year ago in supports of bringing out a little more positivity in the world, because once COVID hit, there was a lot of negativity. So I wanted to be a more positive aspect. So my mom challenged me to create something that gives back to the community. And she was like, what about a podcast? And I was like, why? So I was encouraged to continue with that. And I host interviews with young entrepreneurs and authors and actresses and directors. I met so many wonderful people through the platform, and I've been given so many opportunities as you have just heard. And it was a beautiful experience that I think should be shared. And I'm growing every single day because of that. And I'm growing as a student, a sister, a friend, and it's just been an amazing experience. And just thank you for having me here today.
Yeah, well, it's amazing to have you. It's an honor to have you here. And I'm sure that the people who are on your podcast are just as honored to be on the podcast with you. So thank you for sharing. And then Caprice, you are supporting young people like this every day. You helped me get in touch with some of our young people. So could you talk a bit about what got you into the work that you're doing and what your mission is as it relates to our young people?
Yes, good morning, everyone. Again, I'm Caprice. Every day I strive for young people. I think it really started when I was a young person. Listening to your accomplishments, it's so amazing. And it's so important why you need people in your corner. But I remember as a youth, really back in the third grade, I tell people this is where I really started my service. And it was the amazing women and mentors that were around me that continued to push me in directions that I did not know why then. I did not know why at camps I had to do certain things that all my other friends did not have the opportunity to do. They're like, no, you need to go focus on this. And now sitting in this space, I understand because I have the ability to put youth in places where I think they should be. You know, everyone is always youth are our future. No, youth are our now. You know, when I get older, I want to be able to relax.
Yeah.
We can't keep saying youth are our future. No, we have to train them now, and the generations have changed. And, you know, as a millennial, they keep, pushing millennials here and there, but I'm an old millennial. I have the ability to bring intergenerational together. So not bringing some of our seniors, but our youth together and them learning. And so Stella's Girls really started out of what I was seeing over in Africa and Japan. I was already doing work here in the US, but we were stationed in Japan and I was doing work in Africa, and it was the lack of opportunity. It's not they don't have the access. No, it's a lack of opportunity. And so being able to give youth the opportunity, provide youth with the resources, I said, you know what, this is my passion. This is what I wanted to do. And I'll tell you, I thought I went to school to be a civil rights attorney.
Wow.
That is what I went to school to do. And so being a military spouse, it shifted in this direction, and I absolutely love it. But being able to find those youth and find those opportunities to really elevate their platform is why I do what I do.
Yeah.
So for Stella's Girls, our mission, yes, it focuses on girls. However, we have also pivoted because the youth in Southern Maryland have said, Ms. Caprice, okay, what about the young men?
Oh, wow.
So we also have young men in the pipe because I've had such an amazing opportunity this last year working with some amazing young men leaders in our community. And so I'm honored, I'm blessed. I'm just honored and blessed that the youth accept me because I really have a fun time interacting with them every single day. So thank you all for letting me be in your corner and continue to elevate you as well.
Really cool. Thank you for that. And you bring us, remember, we have folks online with us. So please start your comments, start the conversation, start your questions, and we'll open them up on the floor after a few questions, even here in this physical room, after we have a conversation. But you all sharing just reminded me of, oh my goodness, it took me back maybe to middle and high school and just what resources were available to me. And here at the College of Southern Maryland, it's really our goal to reach out into the community for middle and high school students to let you know what's available to you, even while you're in middle and high school in our college. And then once you get out, to come to the college. And so I'm trying to think if I knew all of those types of resources that were available to me, and I'm not sure I did. I know my parents did their best to expose me to as much as possible. But I'll ask you all, and maybe I'll start with you, Sydney, what in your innovative work with even podcasting, is there anything you had to learn, resources that you had to tap into, things that you had to get to learn more about to support your starting the podcast?
Definitely. Hosting your own podcast is not as easy as it would seem. It's like, oh, you're just having someone on and having a conversation. Yes, but also no. You have to know what they did. You have to be able to prep them with questions that you think your listeners would want to hear, questions that you personally would want to hear. So
Mhm.
it takes a lot of preparation for that. And I can use that in my everyday life. Like, how do I prepare? I don't know, for a test at school. How do I prepare for a job interview? So it goes a lot into personal things that I could use as well, and just social skills. You cannot be quiet and you cannot be in the back of the room if you're a podcast. So just be able to ask questions. You have to be able to say, okay, what's coming next? What do I have to do to enhance this conversation? So a lot of social skills and a lot of just self-improvement and just believing in yourself and knowing that you can do it, because you can look and seem as confident as possible or as much as you'd like to, but if you don't believe it in yourself, no one else is going to believe you.
Yeah.
So it just takes a lot of self-improvement and a lot of self-encouragement.
Oh my goodness. So everything from learning the technical stuff to building up your courage in order to exercise those social skills and exercise those and believe in yourself enough to know. I love what you just said. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. So taking that opportunity to move forward. You've taken some risks too, Kaylin, and you've needed some support, some information, some resources in order to do this new thing, because you didn't like wake up and know how to make bath bombs and soap, right? So how did you begin to figure out what resources you needed in order to do that?
Well, my mom actually helped me with a lot of this. We researched for like days trying to find a good natural recipe for bath bombs and soaps. And when we found it, our first bath bomb was probably just dust. We probably didn't even make it right. But after practice, I think I did get better at it. And like sometimes now when I'm looking at how far I've come with my business, I really see how much I've grown, and I really use the help from others.
Yeah, really good. I'll rephrase it for you, Caprice, because I'm wondering, we were just talking before we got started and saying, our youth need this center, this Velocity Center. This is a part of why we're doing even this program series, to expose the community to what's here and what's wonderful. But I'd ask you, what have you found among our youth that they need? What resources, innovative resources, what supports do they need in order to become innovators and inventors and, you know, the wonderful people that we see here?
Yes, the first place is this space. This space. But yes, being new, I'm still very new. I consider myself still a new person in Southern Maryland. I've been here for 2 years, and it shocks people when I say I've only been here for 2 years.
Wow.
I moved here at the end of almost the start of the pandemic, and I just dug in deeply right away. But it's the space, it's, having mentors. That's one of the things for Stella's Girls, is being able to pair our youth with someone that's in the field that they're interested in going into. And so those adults that are on this call, those that are in the community, we need you. Our youth need to be able to talk to someone that's doing what they are what they want to do, or something that's similar to it, because of course they're going to push further than we can ever imagine. And then funding, especially during the pandemic, I think that's all you kept hearing in all of the community forums, all of the town halls. What are we doing for our youth? We have no centers in this entire Southern Maryland specifically for youth. They have no space to be creative. And so we have the resources. There are plenty of agencies to support them, but there's been no space. So space and funding and mentors is what our youth really need. Because as I walked through this building, I was like, oh my God, Sydney could come here and do her podcast. Things here.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness, my youth could come here and do their coding programs right here. So it is the space and having more people support our youth. And definitely we have to put our money where our mouth is, of like, oh yeah, we're going to support the youth. Okay, but where's the funding behind it?
Yeah.
So those are the things that our youth need here in Southern Maryland, because we have some dynamic youth, and we need to be able to support them and show the rest of Maryland what Southern Maryland has to offer.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I totally agree. And when you think about our community, whichever county you come from, St. Mary's, and we appreciate you all who are not in Southern Maryland, who are here, but present virtually or in person. But whether you're in St. Mary's County, Calvert, or Charles County, think about the resources that are there for our youth. Think about the lack of those resources, and then what can we do to bridge that gap? And I think you said it so well. We want your questions. We want your comments. We want to encourage these young people. So I'm going to keep reminding you to send those and put them in the chat. And I will open up in just right after this question, I will open up even the floor here. And if anyone has a question, I will repeat it over the mic for you. But I'm thinking about, again, the College of Southern Maryland. We are here, and we host community classes that are available to credit students as well as non-credit students. So if you're just wanting to learn more about coding, for example, Caprice said, we have those courses that are available. And I'm wondering for you ladies, young people, what have you already taken? Like, what were you aware of in the community that's available to you? Or what do you think should be available for you in the community? So what have you, maybe you've taken a class at College of Southern Maryland, maybe you've been a part of Stella's Girls, maybe you know of some other things that young people can be a part of that we can share with our audience. Or if you've thought we should have this, what should we have? Either one of those, how you want to take it. Kaylin, you want to go first?
So a few things that I've been a part of is Biz Kids. I was actually invited by Dr. Jackson to come here, and I'm very excited to be here.
Yay.
And I really liked that because when I don't really know how old I was, but when I was younger, it really helped me to learn more about business and to actually make my business into what it is today. Another thing I'm a part of is Young Mogul Prep School. And they have another program called Young Mogul Speakers Academy. I'm a part of both, just the whole community. Young Mogul Prep School is basically building my business. I learned more in depth with what actually am I trying to do for people? Like, how am I helping the people? What point am I trying to get across with my product? And what am I doing? The Speakers Academy is making me a certified speaker. And next month, I think. Next month, I will be a certified speaker.
Woo! Yeah. And are there any gaps that you feel should be filled? Are you thinking about things that you want to do, or information you'd like to have? Or do you feel like between you and your mom, you've been able to find what you need?
I think something that has been missing for me is some type of teaching about business in elementary school. When I was in elementary school, I did not have any resources with what was a business. Like, there were some people in my classes that wanted to start a business, but either their parents weren't that supportive or they didn't have the resources for it. And I thought that was really sad because I had a business and I was doing good in business, but I thought that was really missing because I probably would have gotten a lot farther now if I had those resources in elementary school, like in first grade, second grade. They should have some sort of teaching of that.
Oh my goodness, can we pause for a moment? Such great wisdom. Even in our last panel last month, Kaylin, we talked about high school students, and one of our attendees, virtual attendees, said, don't forget the middle school students, because we need to start talking to them really early about business development, workforce development. That was the topic last month. You have even taken us further down the road, and we've heard from a young person to say it needs to start in elementary school, that we need to start having those conversations. Yes, add, subtract, yes, multiply and divide, but also How do you start something of your own? And when that kind of thing is passed on to you really young, it becomes natural for you and you learn it, it becomes a part of you. So thank you so much for bringing that to the forefront. And keep thinking, if anything else comes to mind, we want to hear what you have to share. Sydney, what about you? What have you taken advantage of? And then also, what do you think needs to be out there that you haven't seen yet?
Well, I'm highly motivated and influenced by my mom.
Yeah.
So she
Awesome.
did everything in her power to go out and be like, okay, what can I put my kids into that they can benefit from? What is something that they can do to enhance their minds or grow in education or personal self-growth as well? So I've been a part of a couple of clubs, a part of organizations that, because I perform in the arts, I did a lot of acting classes. I did a lot of dance classes with this aftercare I used to go to and just things like that, just a lot of creative things. But like how Kayla was saying, there was not many classes on business or like things that, or like you could start your own business as young as 10 years old, if not younger, because I've been able to meet people that started at like 8 years old. And I'm like, how do you learn to do that? Because I didn't have those resources. So when I started my book club, and we were like going to offices in DC, like my mom didn't know how to get it as a nonprofit organization. We were like waiting in lines. You have to get these papers signed. Like you need these documents. Like we don't know what those documents are. So I think having classes on that would be really beneficial. This summer, I was able to take, or a couple of months before summer, I was able to take these business classes that were set up for free. And
Wow.
I wish there were more people that participated in that. There was about 7 girls that participated. It was called She CEO, and it was through Save a Girl, Save a World. And I learned about financial literacy. I learned how to certify my business. I learned how to make it my own and how to do it legally. And it was something that I think everyone could have gotten something out of, about selling your product, what it is, why is it important, and why do you think it'd be beneficial for the community. And so having resources like that, I think should be openly and widely accepted. And, in middle school, they have things like Career Day, which is all great and fun. But when you're not setting us up in a place where like, okay, I want to teach you how to set boundaries. I want to teach you how to set up if you want to start your own business and how you're able to establish it and hold yourself up when you get older, because no one really wants to talk about that. So I think how Kaylin was saying, I think that would be really beneficial.
Yeah, really good, really good. And I'm thinking about, when you're sharing, I was thinking about the topic of experiential learning and you all's suggestions, and what you've also been a part of is actually you doing it, practicing, setting you up for setting your business up, setting, you up for financial literacy. All of those things are so important for us and opens ourselves up to innovation. So now I have these tools in my toolbox. The world opens up a whole lot more. So I'm so appreciative that you brought those things up. I'm sure you have thoughts, Caprice, that you want to share. And then I have a follow-up question for you if you have something based on what they shared.
Yeah, no, I truly support what they're saying. And it's so funny. It's me and a few partners here in the county are working on just that, we're working on a program to be able to teach our young people how to be CEOs, and pulling in all of the players, because you can have a business, young, but you also need an adult to sign certain documents. But I think Kaylin said it right. It's those students that don't have that support. Their parents may not see it. And it may not even be that their parents may not see it. Their parents may not they don't have the time. And so, this old concept of it takes a village to raise a child, we have to bring that back.
Yeah.
Especially during the pandemic, families are overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And so for me, I had the unique opportunity to work with youth every week. They're like, oh, Miss Caprice, I'm struggling this. Okay, all right, let's go find you a tutor. Oh, Miss Caprice, I'm very interested in advocacy. Okay, let me go put you on this panel. And so but you have to have someone in your corner. Again, why so many of our youth need mentors, but also to couple with, okay, they need to learn about business, or they need to learn about social entrepreneurship, or so many of our young people are interested in just supporting in that social work role, but not being social workers. It is really about the advocacy piece. And so it's being able to support them definitely at an early age. You guys, I agree. I started in 3rd grade. And it was the people around me that allowed me to do that. But who knew that in third grade, I could have started a business? Now, what the organization we started still runs today and trains young people. This is in South Carolina, but it started with third graders. So you're right. We do need to get younger in exposing our youth, because their thought is way different.
Yeah.
Education has to change.
Yes.
We have to change how we're teaching our young people, because how we were taught is not necessarily valid for them these days.
Yes. And
that.
Thank you for saying that. And what I've heard in both of what they've shared, they researched, and in order to research, they had to get online. They had to get on all of the media platforms, starting with Google, I'm sure, and YouTube and all of those places to find out information. And so technical literacy, as well as, all of the other pieces, but business and financial literacy are so important. So thank you for bringing those up. I'm going to pause just for a second. I do have a question from our virtual audience, but I want to check and see if there are any questions, just looking in our audience here first to see if there are any questions. No pressure. Thank you. All right. Yep, please. Yes. Yeah.
We've been blessed that some of the resources that we've had has come through. But I can say we could have saved a whole lot of time if people made the information available, accessible. The girls want to start a new program called Perfect Timing Girl. Even trying to find a location to hold the meeting in. I went to the library to try to get a room. They're no longer doing rooms. Just trying to get that information out and having space to come in and not have to pay for every thing, because her Perfect Timing podcast costs money. It's a community service, although she's an entrepreneur. I thought that was her passion project, and really is not. It's considered her leadership project. So now we have to find a passion project. But just knowing that information, you can start earlier on building that, so that you build that resume that capture everything.
Yeah.
But it takes you coming across or stumbling across someone that's gonna actually drop some gems in your
Yeah.
resources. It's just not that easy.
Yeah.
Just being in this room, I'm still learning. And like Kate said, every parent is not available or don't have the information. Cindy just had a speaker on about scholarship. I didn't know the kids could start receiving scholarships at age 0. I thought senior year was the time to start applying. Well, we're late.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Really good. And I will capsulize everything that you just said for our virtual audience, because all of it was so good. And you can nod at me if I do a good job summarizing. But the idea that there are resources out there, there need to be more that are more accessible and even free of charge, so that the resources are literally available to those who don't have a lot of financial resources themselves. But even the resources that are out there, they're difficult to find. So for parents and those who are supporting our young people, it would be nice if they were more easily found. And you made me think about warehousing, putting a list together of all of these resources that are available in our counties. And perhaps those lists are out there. And so that's what these forums are for, to really share in the comments, or as we're sharing aloud here. And then we post these on our website, on the College of Southern Maryland website, to be viewed later, and share these YouTube videos out, so that we can find out from our community what resources are out there, and maybe we can create a list, or maybe there's a list out there that we can advertise to let folks know what is out there. It does make it easier for parents to be supportive and empower their youth when they know about those resources.
Yeah, I would say there are a few lists. I think United Way used to house them. So over I would say, I guess the last couple of months I've been compiling because of what she's asking. That's the one thing that frustrates me the most in Southern Maryland. I'm like, parents have no idea where to go. And so thankfully, I think some of that is going to really change a good bit. The superintendent is looking at pushing out resources for the youth as well, and parents, because we know parents are overwhelmed. And so I really try to go to the youth sometime because the youth know what they want. And if they know the people who to go to, they can receive those. But we are really trying to work on a one-stop shop for Southern Maryland, because it is not just about Charles County, but so many of us are fluid across all 3 counties and what resources are available for parents and what are available for youth. So we are working on it. I've been compiling the last couple of months so we can put something together and put in front of parents. But then the other thing is, once we put things out, people have to share it.
Yeah.
Because so many people do a hard, oh my gosh, we work so hard, and then it doesn't get shared.
Yeah.
So I also throw it back and on parents as well, is they have to look too. It's like if we post it in front of you, and then it's like, okay, you don't get any likes, you don't get anything, you don't get any shares. And it's like, okay, well, we did all this work, or do you really want it? And so it does take time to build. And it's not to those parents that are looking, but it's those that say, oh, there's nothing to do. And I'm like, oh my God, we just posted that.
Yeah. Yeah, you know,
A community effort.
that's such a good point, Caprice. And I think what happens is because, you know, your wheels started turning as you were walking through this space, and my wheels started turning, like, we're going to communicate more and make sure that the work that you're doing is shared with the departments that are relevant at the College of Southern Maryland. But I think it really does take us working together and not doing the silo work of an organization here and the silo work of a department here. It really takes us working together, because that small audience and that small audience comes together and it becomes a bigger audience to let folks know more about it. And we have the NAACP represented in this room. Like, there are ways that we can get more out there working together. So thank you for lifting that up. And I want to share a question for our young people that has come through virtually. And then remind me, I have one of my own. What can adults do to connect better with our youth? What do you think adults should be doing more of, in your opinion, to connect with our youth and maybe even provide you all more opportunities?
Actually listening to
Ooh,
children.
yeah. Say more, Caitlin. You know, that was powerful, but it's okay. It's a safe space. Say more.
I know when I was still in school, and like even now, some of my friends will come to me and they're saying, well, I want to do this, but I don't know if my parents will be okay with it. And my mom actually listens to me and we talk about different things. And even to like yesterday, I was talking about how I want to maybe start a new business or I want to try something else out. And she's supportive and she's willing to try that out. And I think a lot of parents don't realize that children matter. They're not just there. You can actually make good ideas by listening to the children.
I cannot say it better. I am allowing her mic to drop and moving on to Sydney.
I second that 1000%. She took the words out of my mouth. Listening.
Yeah.
We are in a time where people are like, okay, I'm at a standstill. COVID is still happening. And I have no idea what I want to do with my life because people haven't supported my ideas. And so, you know, my mom has been immensely supportive, and I am truly blessed for that because I could have been the one to bring a Perfect Timing podcast. And she was like, no, I don't have time for that. But she encouraged it.
Yeah.
And look where I am because of that. So I think just hearing us out, having a listening ear and, you know, using a different perspective, you know, times are really, really different now. So I think having that support is really, really crucial. And, you know, I think that people who want to get out there and people who think that it is important to create change need to be encouraged. And, you know, instead of put down, instead of being like, oh, that's not really what we do here. That's not really how we roll. And it's like, well, I want to roll differently.
Yeah.
So help me become the different kind of perspective, help me become the different kind of person that I want to see in our communities, and just bringing more adversity as well, and just letting people know that the resources are here, and that, financial literacy is cool, making your own money is cool. And, being able to say that you have your own business should be exciting for people, instead of being like, oh, that's weird. Like, why would you do that? That's embarrassing. No, it is not. It's
Yeah.
the coolest thing I've been able to do. And so I think that encouragement is really permanent in what we have to do.
Yeah, the adults in the room can tell you, anyone who was looking down on the smart kid, or the leader, or the person who had the goals and all of that in school, oh, they're envious now. So, so keep it up. Keep it up. Yeah, absolutely. I do want to ask both of you all again before we start to get closing questions. I really wanted to know, Caprice has mentioned it a couple of times, during this pandemic, how have you personally and your friends, how have you all managed during, everything from school to your business and the work that you want to accomplish? How has it affected you personally and your friends that you're aware of? Sydney, you want to go first, and then we'll go to Kaylin.
I'm going to be vulnerable with you all. It tore me apart.
Yeah.
Completely. From waking up at 5 a.m. every day to catch the bus to school, to coming home at 10 o'clock at night, every night after ballet practice in DC. When all of that stopped, it was like, what on earth do I do?
Wow.
And so, and it kind of hit me. I wasn't really able to make that many friends at school because I was so busy. And then COVID hit. I was like, wow. I don't really have like a secure group around me. And so it was kind of disheartening to see. And then throughout that summer, I was trying to find things to do. I had started my podcast a little bit before summer started. So I was occupied with that. And then school started back up again, and it was virtual. It wasn't terrible, but would I have chosen that? Absolutely not. It was a lot of trial and error, and then, a lot of mental health things. I'm a very strong mental health advocate. And so, which is why I want to share with you, like, all the hardships and how, like, sometimes I would cry myself to sleep. I'm like, I'm just so sick of this. Or like waking up the next day and laying in bed for another 20 minutes, just looking around like, I don't want to get up.
Yeah.
And so I think that it just changed a lot of us. And, I'm really happy that I have people in my corner, people that I've known my whole life that have done nothing short of like supporting me and just being people to talk to, or people that just want to listen and give me advice. Because of them, I think that it has made me an even better person, and someone that I can be there for other people as well. So, I'm a lot better now, but, it's still a lot of trial and error, a lot of process and, trials and tribulations, but I think that we're still getting better. And, there are some hard days, but, without rain, there's no sunshine. So I think I've gotten better.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing with us. I know that we've all felt some of those feelings you described, so we can relate, but it's important that we hear it from you all, because as Kaylin said earlier, you matter, your feelings matter. You as a young person, we want to hear your voice, and you have ideas and suggestions to help us that we need to hear. So thank you for that. Kaylin, how have you been managing and those around you?
Well, my COVID experience has been very different than everybody else's COVID experience. Last year, was it last year? Yeah, it was last year. I actually started homeschooling for the first time, and I was really liking it. I was having fun at home. I was doing my work. I was going on different cool field trips and all of that. And then all of a sudden, I was seeing videos on like TikTok and YouTube about some sort of virus going around. And I was like, what? A virus?
Wow.
And I was like, I'm at home. What virus is happening? And I was really confused. And we went like to the store, and like everyone there had on masks, and there was those glass things. There was those glass things up.
Yeah.
Little arrows pointing on the floor. I was like, what is all this? Me and my mom were so confused. Like, why, what virus is happening? What is all this? So we were just confused about it because we had already started going into the home. We don't really go out a lot for like different things. I started homeschooling. My mom works from home. We do everything from our home, and my dad was the only one going out. So yeah.
Yeah.
And with my friends during the summer, we got on phone calls every single day.
Mm.
Because even though we don't go everywhere, we don't go places as we used to, because they go to different schools. I'm homeschooled. We don't get to see each other every single day. So we decided that we were going to get on video calls every single day to try to like stay in touch. And I really made a point of that because I don't know why, but this has always been a fear of mine of just not having anyone around me.
Mm.
And I really wanted to just have a couple of friends that I could talk to. And now one of my friends is kind of drawn away from me because of school and because of things she's going through. And I understand that. So I still reach out to her, and I still talk to my friends online. We still talk, but a lot of our COVID experience was a lot different than everybody else's.
Mm-hmm.
I think nobody that I was closely related to had COVID or died from COVID, but just seeing that other people were dying from COVID really struck me in like a bad way.
Yeah.
Because I hardly get sick. Me and my mom hardly get sick. My dad, he had cancer. He's a cancer survivor. So we had to really be careful with diseases. So I was really confused. Like, there's a virus? What? So we hardly get sick. So we were going places. We had our masks on. We had our shields on. When COVID first started, we had like the full, I think we were wearing like 3 masks. A shield. I don't know. We were just wearing a lot.
Well, can I interject and just say thank you for allowing us just a peek into your experience with it. And it resonates with me because I homeschool my 12-year-old. And so we've been homeschooling. He's now in the 7th grade. We've been homeschooling since he was in the 2nd grade. And so we were like, when everyone else was panicky, we were like, oh, okay, so we're going to do what we've been doing. So it does resonate with me what you've shared, but even just the acknowledgement that outside you having to adjust to what was happening, but also being sensitive to the fact that others around you were having to adjust, and that level of connection you were able to still maintain with your friends. And 2 different experiences, but we've heard both very vulnerably. I appreciate you sharing. What have you heard? Any other types of experiences from our young people that you want to lift up, Caprice, or very similar?
I think very similar. The youth that were around me, it definitely was that not having that social interaction. Their mental health was challenged every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so the experience for me was different because this is my 2nd pandemic, not my first. The first pandemic for me was Ebola, and I was on the ground in Liberia during that time and working with young people. So I already knew what was coming.
Yeah.
And so, being able to uplift our youth, especially those that were kind of in my circle, and then they broadened my circle with more youth. I was able to really help coach them through and help them see and just be that platform. But it is exactly what they're saying. I think everyone's experience was different.
Mm-hmm.
Watching Sydney rise, last year was the first year I actually interacted with Sydney through some of the youth out of the group I was working with. And, the opportunities, because now that they're back in school, they're like, oh, Ms. Caprice, I don't have time for anything.
Yeah, right.
Like, we needed that Wednesday. That Wednesday allowed them to be innovative and to really focus on their passion because they didn't have school.
Mm-hmm.
So the experiences have been different, and it's very challenging, especially for our freshmen this year. Our freshmen in college. they're struggling because they haven't been in school. It's just like our regular college student, our regular high school and middle school students, or even the ones going to elementary for the first time. But we have to remind them to, have grace, to give themselves that space and that time. And again, I concur with them. Listen. I love being a listening soundboard for youth. I love it. Some youth call me 11, 12 o'clock at night. They're calling me. And if they call, because we know youth text, but my youth call, I will get up and I will talk to them because they need someone to talk to.
Yeah.
And so, but the experience is definitely they're yearning for people to listen to them. And it doesn't always have to be their parent. And I will say it again, mentorship. And I will keep honing on that because parents need help. They need that support around their children. And so this experience has only made me see more why adults are needed, why mentors are needed, why we have to continue to bring that village back. We have to, because everyone is hurting and everyone needs the support of each other.
Yeah. And you just made me think about the importance of mentorship and support. It's for all of our young people. And so we see two brilliant, amazing young ladies up here. And, it has been challenging. Caprice has been trying to help me gather up some of our other innovators and entrepreneurs, but they're either getting ready for tests, ACTs, SATs. They are in between classes at College of Southern Maryland. And so even though you don't see a different gender or a different race up here, all of our young people need our support and our mentorship. And so I'm going to ask if there are any final questions. I would love for those to come up, and I will repeat those even virtually online. If you have more, they are being through osmosis. They're being sent to me. So please share your questions online as well. Go for it. So great question. So I'm repeating it for our virtual audience. The question from one of the awesome moms of the panelists is, what do our panelists think of strategic partnerships? And if so, how do they think they should be formulated? And I'll just ask, who would you like to work with? What organizations would you like to see? What people would you like to see come together to help strengthen the work that you do? Maybe we'll start with Kaylin and then come to Sydney.
So my mom asked the question and I partner with her. So yes, I do encourage strategic partnerships. One of the partnerships that I was actually looking to do is with a soy candle company. One, because I really like candles, and some of the candles in stores, like some of the bath bombs and soaps in stores, some of the candles literally irritate my nose, and I'll literally start coughing because something in it is just bad. I don't know what's in it, but something in it. And we've noticed that the soy candles don't have that effect. So I was really wanting to partner with a soy candle company because I'm always for natural products. I make natural bath bombs and soaps. And I really wanted to do that because I'm all for spa essentials. And I feel like a candle is for spa essentials because I get relaxed when I light a candle and have the room smelling good.
Let me just interject and say, while you were talking, because you are so good at your, what in business we call an elevator pitch, but talking about your business and your mission, I just realized that I am a customer of yours because you vended at the Waldorf Marketplace during the fall or the summer. And I bought some of your soaps. So I'm a customer. I use your stuff. Okay, I'm sorry. While you were talking, I was like, she shared this with me. And Sydney, strategic partnerships.
Yes, again, I agree. Partnering with people that, have the same ideas that I do, something that I want to support because, I can look for sponsorships and just be like, okay, this is just money coming in my pocket and just like not think much of it. But I want to work with someone who is working with me, someone who wants to listen, like Ms. Caprice said, someone who wants to create change. And like when people ask me like, what can I do to support you? It is the best thing ever because like, oh my gosh, they want to know what I want. So, so I want to work with people that are like that. I haven't found a specific partnership yet that I wanted to work with, but when I joined the Stephen Marjorie Harvey Save Girls, Save a World, Girls Who Rule the World foundation that I was a part of last month, I was introduced to so many companies that did just that. They wanted to listen. They wanted to say, what can I do for you? And I can name a couple here, but I cannot think of them off the top of my head. But I would like to partner with them so I can give it out to my listeners, because something about my podcast is that I want to give them the exposure to it. Because since I was exposed to it during that convention, I was like, I want to teach you guys what I have learned because, like we were saying, there aren't any resources for that. So I want to be a new resource and partner with people that want to do the same.
Yeah. So before Caprice, I just want to say we are about to ask these ladies and Caprice for whatever they can share with us, a website, an IG handle, a Facebook handle, all of those things. So get your fingers ready, your pen ready to write down so that you can do exactly what Sydney just said and reach out and support and ask how you can support these ladies and the work that they do. But strategic partnerships, Caprice.
Yes, like the other two have said, for strategic partnerships, yeah, Stella's Girls has had the opportunity to have some amazing partners, not only locally, but of course across the globe. How I look for strategic partners is really, it goes back to that listening. I want to know what my youth want. I need to know what they're interested in. So, we were talking about the entrepreneurship. So especially here in Southern Maryland, I'm like, okay, my youth want to know about entrepreneurship. Who can I partner with? And so we've been working on these segments to create that for them. Knowing even in the advocacy space, I am NAACP Youth Council advisor here, but even our youth that are in the advocacy space. Okay, so I need to partner with our elected officials, so I've been able to really listen to what the youth want. And then just because Stella's Girls is not just local, we're international. I just came back from Kenya last week and now I am the vice chair for the largest African women's organization on the globe. And so now it's not only like Sydney, I think when I heard Sydney was like, oh, I want to be international. I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I connect her with my people across? Because what Sydney has to say as a young person is so relevant to the young people on the continent of Africa. And so, it's listening. I like to listen to see, okay, who do I need to grab? And because, yes, I am the older person on the panel, but it's what do our youth need? And I think Mrs. Collins said it, the resources, sharing, knowledge. Knowledge is power. I am more powerful when I can share my knowledge than holding it for myself. And so that's how I find my strategic partners is, what do my youth want to do? How can they benefit for this partnership? Whether it's a for-profit, a nonprofit, a community organization, an elected official, I am going to pull whoever I need to pull to make sure that youth have those resources. And so yes to strategic partners, yes to those that are listening, we need your help, we need your support. And so when we ask, please answer the call. Don't shut your doors, because that's the only way for us to continue to build our community and build our youth up, is listening and making sure that we are that vessel. Because someone help us get there.
Yes, and to everything that they have said, we at College of Southern Maryland are hosting these, as doing all the work that we have been doing and what we want to continue doing, because we want to be and are for so many, but still want to be more of a strategic partner for individual businesses, as we've seen from these young ladies, and the kind of work that Caprice is doing with Stella's Girls and across the nation. So I'd like to ask that each lady would share somewhere we can go to find out more about your business so that we can support you and find out how we could better support you. Where would you have us go, Kaylin?
My Facebook and Instagram at Designs by Kaylin, and my website, designsbykaylin.com.
All right. And Designs by Kaylin, could you spell well, I'll do it. I have it right here. Designs by Kaylin, Kaelyn, right? And so could you say those one more time for those who might be jotting or typing?
Facebook and Instagram at Designs by Kaylin, and my website, designsbykaylin.com.
All right, you have it here. I know someone is putting it. We have awesome team members with us. Bev is helping us with the questions, and I'm sure it's getting put in the chat at some point. And so, Sydney, please share.
Yes, you guys can all follow me on my Instagram at _Perfect Timing Podcast and on Facebook at Perfect Timing Youth Podcast. You can go to my directory at eliteconversations.com, go to host, find Sydney Chandler Monet. That's my show host name. And all of my episodes are there. You can support me more by either sharing an episode, telling a friend, or just sending the link out, or just tapping it once. And one listener is one heart. So thank you so much for your support.
Oh my goodness. These accomplished women know exactly how to do it. And so I'm going to ask that you at least share the podcast information one more time, because everyone who is listening, who is here, we should all become subscribers on that podcast. Even if you just look up Perfect Timing, it should come up. But can you share it with us one more time?
My Instagram is _Perfect Timing Podcast, Facebook Perfect Timing Youth Podcast, and my episodes can be found on eliteconversations.com. Go to host and find Sydney Chandler Monet, and I can be found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, and Elite Conversations.
Awesome. Awesome. We're going to work hard to get those in there. Anyone who has found it and you want to put it in the chat, be a good community member, put it in the chat for us so that we can have that information. And then Caprice, your work, where can we find out more about what you're doing? Such important work that you're doing, but also trying to pool all the resources of other works together as well. How can we get in touch with you?
Yes, so for Stella's Girls is on our social media platform at Stella's Girls, and that's STELLAS, girls with an S. Our website is stellasgirls.org. Today you will find it down. We are transitioning platforms, but it should be back up by the end of the week. And for those that are interested in helping, we're looking for mentors. We just secured the first county's mentoring services program for Charles County.
Woo!
And so we're super excited about that. It's a first time vendor of us having a local contract with the government. And so we need mentors. We need people to share. We're looking for individuals that need mentees. And we're really excited about some of the work that's coming with some of the other organizations. So also funding. It takes a lot to, put the support behind these youth. And so funding and more strategic partners. It's all about the partnership. So if there's something that you can give of your time to a young person, to these young people here, even on the panel, definitely reach out and say, you know what, I have time. It only takes an hour a week. And we all have more than that. We spend more time on social media. So we have an hour a week to be able to give to our youth. So again, that's Stella's Girls on all platforms, just at Stella's Girls. And then our website is stellasgirls.org.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know we could stay here and chat for a while, but we want to make sure you want to come back. So help me thank our panelists. Please, let's give them a round of applause, physically in person as well as virtually. Let's thank them, show them some love in the chat so that they can come back and see it. We thank you, our audience, both in person as well as virtually, for joining us for this amazing program. We have, again, 2 more opportunities to join us here at the Velocity Center for this Live at the Velocity Center series, both in person or virtually. Please share this with someone. If you are going to join us virtually, you can go right now to sign up for November 10th. We will explore the art of innovation through STEAM and the inclusion of the arts here at the Velocity Center. And we will have brand new panelists to share who are experts or practitioners in both of those areas. And then also in January, on January 19th, we will discuss what a maker space is and how we use it. And it's our goal to be able to show you a little bit of what happens here at this maker space at the Velocity Center. And we have some really exciting guests lined up for that as well. Simply visit us at csmd.edu/VC series. Again, csmd.edu/VC series. And you'll be able to see our past episodes. This one will be posted very soon. And then you can register for the others. You'll also be able to join us at any point you as a community member want to come and see the facility, or you want to find out how you can partner with us. That information is on the website as well. We thank you for your time, both online and in person. Thank you so much, panelists, for taking that time out from school, as well as the work that you do. Have a wonderful day. Until next time, take care.